Everyone, welcome back to another 31-minute podcast. This is part 2. Good morning, Jordan.
Good morning, part 2. Let's go.
Yeah, I was driving along yesterday and I thought, we've got to share more info. We've got to share more info around how do you actually use, we talk about frequency. Frequency is like talking about Casper the Ghost. Like how do you, can't see him, you know he's there, but it's like, how do you manage it? You know, it's like thin air.
It's probably my fault. I just shoot questions at you the whole time, and we end up talking about tomatoes.
We were talking about this yesterday afternoon, and the podcast, and you were like, we were talking about how many messages you get. I get hardly any. I get like 2, and then it's like the Jordan show. But the amount of messages you get from people,
Heaps. Yeah, I reckon 50 a week probably. And I was saying, isn't it funny? Like the amount, like I haven't done anything anywhere near as much as
you actually have,
as anywhere near as much in my career as I have with you. But it seems like there's a lot of young agents that, well, you were saying people feel closer to me in their journey than to you, so much further down the track. So
I think
we appreciate it. It's fantastic. I love hearing the good feedback. I think that's like we know we're on track.
You love it. You actually, I reckon you sit at home on the toilet just looking at each message and really reading each word and absorbing it, taking it all in. And like, it's like, oh. You live for it.
Yeah. It's like, a security company. Yeah, I just need a bodyguard, please. Can't get from work to the office without.
It's very good. So, I'd like to start talking about frequency and how you manage this thing. Mm-hmm. The reason I'm dwelling on it a little bit is because your results will change, your life will change. It's actually what changes your life. It's not all of a sudden today I have this new letter is going to change my career. It doesn't happen, you know, or, you know, this client's going to walk in and be the key to your building this amazing future. You know, it's who you are that's attracting things into your life. When I learned about this, I was like, okay, this is making sense. Because I used to listen to, so I knew nothing about goals. And then when I was with Karina a long time ago, her mum mentioned a goal. So let's put it back into perspective a little bit. Because I've got like 2 lives. One life, I grew up very poor and very, just didn't know. Like my dad was a tradesman and he's like, you have to have a trade.
Yeah.
That's it. And I said, oh, I want to be a pro surfer. And he goes, get out of the house, move out now. If you don't get a trade, you can't live here. I was like 15 years old or maybe less. And I was like, okay. And they were all electricians, the whole lot of them, since 1800 and something. And all the men were electricians. I said, I don't want to be an electrician. It's just, I have no interest. And they just lived in Maroubra, like a, you know, lower middle class suburb.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up with, you know, probably like you did at North Entrance or the Entrance. Like it was just a bit of a casual suburb. You just spend your whole day at the beach doing nothing else.
Yep.
If you stole $2 off your mum to get lunch for that day, you're laughing. Yeah. You know, that's pretty much what it was. And I think my parents just went to work. My mum worked as a checkout chick, you know, like a thing. And then she got a job as a receptionist like years and years later. But, and then did something else. I can't remember what else she did after, like she slowly in a company, like went to the next thing, like maybe a sales rep or something. And then by the time I was older, and then as I got old enough, my mum left my dad and got divorced. So basically I think they just waited for us to get a bit older. Yeah. But we just sort of did what we wanted to do. There's not a lot of, especially from my dad. My dad was just an alcoholic, didn't really, he just was not interested in life or anything else that he created. But my grandparents were sort of a little bit wealthy. Like my grandparents were like, you know, they used to own a block of flats in Bondi and they had an electrical company and a lighting shop.
But they didn't talk.
My dad had all this resentment to my pop for some reason. I don't know what happened. I have no idea.
Which was his dad?
Yeah, his dad. Yeah, they just had no connection. And my dad did everything possible in his life to do the opposite of what his parents wanted them to do. So my dad worked for the council, like the county. It's called the county council back then. So it was like Sydney Electricity, and he was an electrician in the
council.
In the council. So and then he became an inspector, which was like the biggest achievement of his life. And then he used to just go to work so he used to wake up at 5 o'clock every day with a hangover, go to work, come home at 12 every day, eat his pie, go back to work and come home at like 4:55 every day and have a beer. That's his whole life. I can't remember anything different. That's it. But there was just no aspiration to do anything.
Such a low frequency.
Yeah, it was. And but I had that growing up, and I used to like wonder what. I used to say to my mum, "Why don't you buy like a white leather lounge?" Like we had the lounge that my grandparents gave us as a hand-me-down with holes in it my whole life. And I'm like, why don't you buy a white leather lounge? Not understanding there's just no money, zero money. We couldn't even really buy food much, but we bought it. All mum spent her money on was food and bills. That's it, nothing else. We just had never any money. I never got new clothes. I always had hand-me-downs. Not that it's a problem, but I had that, and then I went into the city and then did all of that, and then got involved in that drug world, and then ended up homeless, had nothing, and then sort of when I met Karina's parents, they started to teach me about goals, and I was like, what's a goal? And then her mum was like quite driven, and I was like, wow, okay. So I started to listen to Brian Tracy CDs, and that's when I got a job in real estate. And then I could see when my life started to go better.
Yeah.
But I could see backwards. And I was like, I used to live in turmoil. My whole family used to live in turmoil. Stressful. Everything was like not enjoyable. Can't think of anything good. But it was like that like you said, really low vibration. Even in the city, when I was like partying and stuff, my life was like this roller coaster of mess. Yeah. All the time. And but when I learned about goals and hard work and focus, and I listened to all these other people, not so much Tony Robbins, like sort of. I just can't listen how he speaks. Like, everyone say like that. Yeah. But Brian Tracy and Tom Hopkins and Zig Ziglar and all of these people. But then I learned about vibration about 10 years into it, maybe a bit less. And that is when the penny dropped. I was like, wow, okay, so we're a frequency being, we're an energy being. Because all the other stuff was like set a goal. And I used to think to myself, how do you get the goal? Like you set the goal, you work really hard. And I was working so hard, but I was like real tired and, just like almost like waking up every day, just like, oh, like
here we go again.
All again. And I was getting somewhere, but it wasn't like flow. It was like anxious, desperate.
Like just grinding the wheels along.
Yeah, sort of. So then I, learned about Esther Hicks and Louise Hayes and Joe Vitale and all of this sort of stuff. And then I got the Secret CD one day later, and I watched that 3,000 times. But
the Secret CD.
The Secret, yeah, The Secret, Rhonda Byrne. You should watch it. It's sort of like the public stream of what she did. She put together like Jack Canfield and all these people, Esther Hicks. She put together like a bit of everyone and created a thing called The Secret. You should watch it. And it sort of was like that brought it all together for me in a way. And I was like, we do create our own reality. And then I liked Esther Hicks for the next 15 to 20 years. I just studied Esther Hicks a lot. Yeah. But you've got to put it into your own thing. It's not about like just listen to someone, your life's going to change. Like you've got to like start installing it into your life. And I think that's what I've done reasonably well. I've dumbed it down and made it really simple for myself and been able to transfer that to people.
Well, can we talk about what you do?
Yeah. Yeah. So what I wanted to say about part 2 is like you're in control of this. You've got to start understanding that you're making the outcome, nothing else. Like God is not sitting there lightning bolting somebody and
like life change.
Yeah, like
life change.
Yeah, or the other way, you just told a lie like that. Like
yeah.
No one's doing it to you. Because if that was the case, then everybody who was evil would get nothing. So if you believe, like I'm not saying I'll just use God as a person. I know there's people that have all different beliefs, but a person there's no one thrusting anything on you. I believe we get energetic help. I believe we get promptings and things like that. That's a different thing. Like we'll talk about that in a minute. But so when I was a practicing Mormon for a long time, and what I saw was the great thing about that for me was they used to talk about blessings all the time, and I used to sit in church every Sunday, half the day, but it was a way of life as well. So clean living.
You needed just some guidance.
Yeah. It was like a track for me.
Yeah.
So I did that plus study, plus did everything. Like I was absorbed in really changing my whole life. People say, how did you change your whole life? But it was like I changed my beliefs and desires and all that sort of stuff. But what I used to see here in the Bible and the Book of Mormon and any religious scripture, blessings. So God blessed me today. People used to get up every month and talk about these things. It's like this testimony meeting. Yeah, I got this blessing and that blessing, and I used to be like, I don't think that's right.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there.
Yeah, and I'd be like, I'm not discounting the blessings. I'm like, I don't think God is waking up every day going, should I bless Jordan today? And was Jackson good today?
Looking down the list.
And here's a blessing. But people trivialize because they've got to people have to understand it themselves.
Yeah.
And I think and I used to sit in church going, I reckon there's a vibrational frequency that you move into. And when you move into it, things change. So when you do good for somebody or yourself, remember yesterday I was talking about living a life of integrity?
Yeah.
I think when you do that, you shift, like it's shifting gears. You shift a gear in the car from first to second to third to fourth to sixth to whatever. I think we do the same thing vibrationally. So we have all these frequencies that we can access. And I think that's how, not just church, but life. But the thing that church did for me is the better I lived, the more committed to good.
Yeah, good things happen.
Good things were happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a law of reciprocity.
100%.
Yeah, and that's when I started to really say, okay, I'm in control. I can make choice. And that's how powerful choice is. Choice is the ability to direct your life in any way, and no one's going to stand in your way. I could get a sledgehammer today and smash that wall behind me if I feel like it. I could get Jackson's camera and throw it across the room, or I could sit here and pat the dog. Like I get a moment to choose right now. So if you're an addict, and when I watched the show yesterday, and the people get up, hi, I'm John. I'm an addict. That's not right. Like that's so not right. You know, like when you keep reinforcing that, you're actually programming yourself to be an addict. That's what I think. And it's like an addict is nothing more than today I just choose to take drugs. That's it. You got desires and you got urges and all of this sort of stuff, but it's a choice.
It is. Yeah.
People say to me, how did you stop being a drug addict? Like my son is sitting here. It's not great to talk about, but I was the deepest of drug addicts you could picture.
Yeah.
Like those people you see on the streets, that was me in the end. But I just chose, and people say, how did you turn your life around? I just chose not to. Like I literally just stopped. Do you know?
Do you think the pain needs to get so bad? We were talking about this a couple of episodes ago for you to actually make the change.
Yeah,
like,
I think...
Because you know how some people go, I'm going to quit smoking, but I'm just not ready yet.
Yeah. You know what? I think they like it. I'm honest. I really love drugs. Like I loved them. Like I loved partying. I loved drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the end, it was terrible.
Yeah.
But I loved getting them, and I loved going and taking them and hanging out with friends and partying and the whole scene. I really liked it. That's why I did it. You know, so people are getting something out of it. We talked about this in other podcasts. We won't go down that path, but that's why they do it.
I like it. Same as eating foods.
Same. Food, exercise. Like people say, oh, Matt, he's so all in on whatever he wants to do. Yeah, because I like it. Like I just like doing it. Like sleeping with the air conditioning on. We were talking about this yesterday. Yeah. I love sleeping with the air conditioning on now. I don't know why. I just love it. And like freezing. And you go, oh, I love it. I put it every night. But you know that feeling of you're going to go to bed and you're going to turn the air conditioning on?
Yeah.
That's why people do it.
Yeah.
It's like whether it's that or it's smoking.
It feels
you can't
good.
see things as good or bad. You see things as desire, really, that you choose to do.
There's just better and worse desires for you.
There is. Yeah, there's an outcome to everything. So you choose that. So I think with the point of attraction, you've got to start associating it's not, I hope this happens. It's going to happen. Like it's actually going to happen. If you give it enough attention, energy, steadiness, commitment, and whatever, you will happen. It will happen. The result's already done. But you've got to allow time to do that. So the law of attraction is very powerful. When you see people who are wealthy, they have a point of attraction that they've created over a long period of time, mostly, for wealth.
What's your experience with the law of attraction? Like,
my experience with the law of attraction, I've taken a whole lot of little bullet points today because I'm going to cover all of them. There's about 15. So I'm going to do it as quickly as I can. But I think it's really important to make sure we get thorough on this, because I want people to listen to this at the end, and I want this to be a pivotal thing for them understanding it and changing their life. Like I really do. Law of attraction is you get what you think about most. So some of this is regurgitated that I've learnt. Some of it is life experience, here, and what I've seen works and what doesn't. So yes, I do copy Esther Hicks on some of this, but you can't listen to something, but I've applied it. So when I say, she says you get what you think about most, and I don't know if she's heard it from
I actually
somewhere.
love that saying. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. So Jordan, I'm going to give you my take on your position in the law of attraction, knowing you for as years as I have now, and where you're at and what I see coming. This is what I think. Just from looking, you can see people's point of attraction. You are going to be very wealthy. We're going to look back on this at some point. You're going to be very wealthy, and you are going to be, I reckon, known as the best real estate agent in Australia. That's what I think. Give it 15 years or 10 years or whatever it's going to be. And I think also, though, you will own a Ferrari. This is psychic reading right now. You're going to own a Ferrari, but you're also going to just drive a cool little car. That's what I think. But I think you are going to be very successful. Very. Because everything about your being, if you stay on this track now, and here's how powerful choice is, you could turn that around tomorrow. You could change that tomorrow. Yeah. You could literally decide to make life changes that will not take you there. You could start drinking tomorrow every day. You could start, you could choose to move. You could choose, you could go to Florida. You could choose to be a pastry cook. So you can change all of this. Yeah. This is why it's so powerful. If you stay in your lane, knowing you as I have now, and watching the momentum that you've got, massive energetic momentum happening in your life now. This is my observation. I'm not just saying this, by the way. Yeah. We will check back in on this in year 2, 3, whatever. We'll use it as a constant. Yeah. But I think that you are headed for huge things, very successful things in real estate. You'll be known as probably Australia's #1 agent. So whether that's like a Alex Phillips or a John McGrath or Adrian Bowe or whoever it's going to be, like that type of thing where everyone will know your name and you will do great things. That's what I think. Because we are, and you've got to see it like this, every day you're throwing energy out. Every moment. So every moment your energy is coming from you. So you're tuned in, everyone is tuned into a radio station of some sort in each subject. And here's what you got to understand. It's not a life thing, it's a subject thing. So I would say and I don't mean this in a bad way, your personal life frequency is good, but it's not as strong as your work one. Yeah. That's what I think. Yeah. And your financial is, and what I mean by that is you got a fantastic partner. Yeah. She's great. I don't know how she puts up with you, but she's fantastic. But you're not as tuned into the outcome because you're young. I think mainly because you're young and you've got a good thing going. It's good. But in work, you're like an absolute beast. Like today, it's 5:45 and you're dressed like you're going to go to an appointment to list a $20 million house. Yeah. Can you see what I mean? Yeah. So your momentum, vibrational frequency, your energetic momentum is fast. The stream's running really fast there. And then your financial as well, I think, is super strong. Building, not as strong as your work, but it's building. And I'd say you give most attention to those two.
100%.
your personal life is settled. I would say that. You enjoy it. You like being with Kim. You like your family, but it fits around the rest mostly. Which,
it does. 100%.
Look, I get it. I'm learning not to do that, but I'm at a different stage of life than you. So, but can you see like how that stream, and it's how fast do you want your stream to run, and you can almost feel it. But it takes a while for that to happen. It takes a lot of commitment and dedication. So when people say you're obsessed with something, you're obsessed, but you're building a stream.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm interested. If your stream keeps running, your stream in 5 years' time is going to be hard to match. Other people, and that's really what competition is about. Other people, it's not so much they're competing with you. Your streams are running. So like when you see someone in full force, listing everything, building and all this, they've just spent a long time building their stream and letter by letter house. But see how hard work fits into it?
Yeah.
But the thought process is more important than the actual hard work in the beginning and along the way. So who do you want to become? What's your frequency? And what subjects are you giving attention to in your life?
Well, if you look at what you just said, you summed it up perfectly in my life. But also, that's all I think and talk about every day. Like you and I talk about that every single day. So
here's a good example. Sorry to jump in. I read one of the comments. Where was it? Last night. I don't know where it was. Someone for you.
Yeah.
I don't know where it was. Someone wrote in, "You are the Australian Wolf of Wall Street."
Yeah.
Now think about this. For 3 years more, you've had the Wolf of Wall Street on your screensaver. But can you see like people are like, see where it's going? What will happen is like you'll become a bit more, you do a video somewhere and maybe Jordan Belfort might see it and people will start saying like he is the Jordan Belfort of Australia. You don't get what I mean? Like a long time ago, I used to say to them, I set an intention that I wanted to be the face of real estate in this area. But also really well known in the real estate industry across Australia. Just more like not for fame's sake or no one's sake, just more like not LJ Hooker, not McGrath, not this, Matt Steinway. And I would say that's happened. Like I would say
100%.
Real estate, people don't say McGrath, they go Matt Steinway.
But also too, let me share a few things that I've seen that you've, with the law of attraction and frequency, attracted over the years since I've known you. You did an agent video 10 years ago or whatever. It might have been 5 or 6 years ago. And you were talking about when you said that you were going to be number one. And you said every single day that I was knocking on doors. So you wrote a goal with really not a lot of real estate experience and not a lot on the board. But you said one day I'm going to be the best at real estate. You call one of your friends. And you said every day that you were door knocking, calling, in your mind you were going, I will be number one, I will be number one, I will be number one. Yeah. And it's the same thing. And then you said in your video, and then I ended up becoming number one, which is fantastic. Yeah. But also too, for people listening, all of the smaller things, all of our smaller goals in the office, you run off feel and frequency. Like when we moved to 20 listings and 20 sales a month, you said it feels about right now. Like our frequency is going to run at that level. Yeah. So you're not like, oh, I think if we do the work here and you make 2 extra calls and I do this and you knock on that door, we'll do 20 sales. Yep. You're like, no, our frequency is at 20 now. Yep. 20 listings and 20 sales. Yeah. But that's how you run the business, is all on how the frequency feels around whatever it is we're talking about. Same as our goals this year. Yeah. And we talked about this on another podcast, just making it so it's not too big. So my whole career has been just a bit more, just a bit more, just a bit more. So I'm going to read some of these points. Yeah, that's so I'm going to read the points because I was like, it's not free flowing like we usually do, but I think it's really important. So first, you have to decide what you want. What do you decide you want? So like, I used to want 5 listings and 5 sales, and then I absorbed my mind in getting there. I think about nothing else. So I'd give all of my energy to 5 and 5. And then I would just do all of my work around it. So it's like you do your prospecting calls, you do this, do that. But all I would give my thought process to is not so much, oh, will I get that listing? That's part of the process. But I would literally not stop thinking about it obsessively until I got there. So whether that took 6 months or 6 years,
I just wouldn't stop. Same as number one. Anything in my career is the same. So number one in McGrath, 5 and 5, 10 and 10, 20 and 20. What's the next part? We're going to have another buyer agent join us at some point, and we're just going to allow that to come. But I let the frequency build inside of me until it's done. And I think about nothing else. I don't have doubt around it. So a quick thing around doubt. So there's expectation, there's doubt. There's a lady called Helene Hadsall. Have you heard about her? She's an older lady. She's probably like 80. She might be dead now. But there's Helene Hadsall. She's won every competition in her whole life she's ever entered. Everyone. Not one. Everyone. Doesn't matter where it is. Can be bingo, like not bingo. It could be a raffle. She was actually a professional competition enterer. You know, amazing story. Amazing.
I can't believe that.
Yeah. She's won cars, houses. She's the most won person in the entire world of competitions. Amazing. You know what she said? Her positive expectation is so strong that she knows she's going to win. So every competition she enters, and in the older days,
fascinating.
You used to have to cut a piece of paper out of an ad. So let's say the competition to win a holiday. She'd cut it out and she'd buy 5 of them or something, and then she'd send them all in, and then she'd go home and wait for the phone to ring. That's what she'd do. She'd just stay at home until the phone rings, because you have to answer the phone. Hey, you've won the competition. And she would win every time.
And what did she say?
She said that if you have any doubt, even the smallest bit, that it's likely that the result won't find you.
What a crazy mindset you would have to have.
Yes.
Because that's very
I'm
hard to keep out anything, any doubt. Even the tiniest bit.
She knew.
The certainty around it would have just been through the roof.
But think about this, Jordan. How often do we not achieve 20 and 20?
I can't remember the last time we didn't. Yeah.
Not very. We are that certain around 20 and 20. But why don't we put that in the rest of our lives?
Yeah.
So she just attuned her subject.
That's so true.
So the subject, she might have been the worst mother in the world. She might have been, I don't know, she might have been so unfit. Like the other subjects in her life, I can't comment on. But that one particular subject, how fast is the stream running?
Yeah.
It's like
crazy.
Yeah. See how we control the energy? And here's if you look at the emotional guidance scale, I'll just go through it quickly and tie this part in. So in this zone, when we call the zone and things happen, all good things find you, there's joy, appreciation, passion, enthusiasm, positive expectation, belief, optimism, hopefulness, and it stops at contentment. So contentment is your home life. You're content. So it's in the good zone, just at the bottom of the good zone. But underneath that is where it gets fractured.
Yeah.
Boredom, pessimism, frustration, impatience. Overwhelmment. See, overwhelmment. That was us yesterday. Disappointment, doubt. So Helene said,
so right
even
at
the
bottom.
smallest bit of doubt, it's likely that the result won't find you. So you can't have positive expectation and doubt in the same frequency. It's a gears. You shift, boom, you're down to first again. The second doubt comes in. I wonder who they're speaking to. Are they speaking to LJ Hooker as well? I wonder if my fee's too high.
That's exactly what you do too.
Exactly what you do.
Yeah.
And then worry, blame, discouragement, anger, revenge, hatred, jealousy, insecurity, guilt, unworthiness. And the last one is fear. Fear is at the bottom. Fear is at the bottom. How many people you know is a bit scared at the moment?
Everybody.
So many. Desperation and despair, powerlessness. That scale is how I live my life. But it's a trained thing. It's not something that I just looked at and gone, oh, you have to be consciously in every moment. Where are you? Like I get annoyed at the dog in here, the puppy. Drives me mad. I don't know. I used to got so cranky because he's just always on me. But it's like, he's not doing anything. He's just being a dog. Dogs are the best example of being in the zone you've ever seen.
they're at the very top of the scale every second.
The best.
Like, you literally pour out the same food they've eaten for the last 5 years, and they're like, "Oh, how good is this? Look at this! Oh, thank you so much. Same food that I've eaten for the last 5 years every day. Woohoo! Let's go!" Bam.
Yeah. They're a balancer. But they're always in the zone.
They're in the zone.
Yeah.
Always happy.
Yeah.
Dogs are always happy.
I was like, "What are you always on me for?" So, yeah. But yeah. So that emotional guidance scale is the thing.
So
it's like getting in your car. You got a steering wheel. It's the same thing.
Do you have another question, or can I ask you a quick question? I know you're trying to be fast. So why do some people operate in the upper end, and why do some people operate in the lower end?
Because they like the feeling of it. It's no different than why do you eat?
Do you think people like operating in the lower?
Yeah, they love it.
Really?
They love it. They love drama. What? Listen to me. Here we go. You know, some people actually can't wait to watch the news.
Yeah.
Like, literally can't wait. Their whole day is... You know, some people would wake up and watch that 11 a.m. press conference with those nightmare premiers.
Mm.
I know people like that. That was the highlight.
Yeah, so we're up to our 4th booster shot now, but we have to blame the people that didn't get their first
down
one
that
for us
path,
getting sick.
But the fearness around it. Where's fear on that thing? You know my youngest son, Bay, he said to me in the car on the weekend on Sunday, he goes, I get up every day and watch the news. He's 8. I'm not joking. He's a bit of a sensible Sam, right?
He is.
Yeah, I don't know where he came from, but he's like, he goes, I get up every day and watch the news. And I was like, the news? What the hell, Bay? He's like, yeah. And he goes, today, someone got murdered in blah, blah, blah. That's what he said. And I was like, oh my goodness. But he's actually enjoying the negativeness of the news. Mm. Can you see where it starts though? He's 8.
All right, let me ask you a question. I'm reading between the lines here. I think if you operate at that position too long, something bad will happen in your life. Like you did. You said you loved it. You operated in the lower end of that scale for your whole young life. And you said you loved it. And then it got to a point where you had nothing.
Here's the thing. Yeah. Keep going.
That's what I think.
But here's the thing though. It's not that something bad happens to you. It does. Well, that's not right. So it does.
Probably because if you eat and drink like crap,
no, you're right. You're right. Yeah. Let me. What I'm trying to say is like it's not a thing. It's a row of events. So you're right. Something bad does happen, but it's like this. It's like it's not easy. So it's not easy. Life isn't easy when you're in that zone of dramatic and gossip and impatient and. Oh, have you seen how expensive the tomatoes are? Oh, my goodness. Inflation, things, this, that. When you're in that zone, everything's difficult and everything's hard and everything's expensive and everything's this and everything's that. You're in a constant state of anxiety type thing. So you'll fall over and break your leg. Your timing will be out on everything. And you might have small wins here and there, but they're far and few between. And the wins are usually like, okay, but not like great. You might see someone you haven't seen for 10 years or whatever. But your timing is just not like, think about a car accident. So a car accident, you wake up, you do your teeth, you have breakfast, you do everything. Everything's got to line up for you to go to that moment in the intersection. That absolute second to hit.
That's an absolute mind bend.
The black Ford Fiesta that's just driven through the thing at that moment.
I know. Yeah. It's like crazy.
It link it all together. When you start looking at things like this, you actually see that it's a sequence of energies coming together. It's not today, like, you know, people go, oh, it just rang me out of the blue. They didn't ring you out of the blue. You're in alignment with that thing. You're in alignment with the circumstance. So what happened was when you're in alignment with something, that person thought, I'll give Matt a call. Have you ever dealt with a client and they've just listed with somebody else and they like your friend? And you're like, what the hell? But what happened was they can't see you because you're in a totally different frequency. They didn't even think about you. They didn't, like, an agent would have knocked on their door that morning and just been the right frequency.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
They don't even know them.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, they just happen to be there.
Well, when I was in that really big slump and overwhelmness, I sold one property and listed none in 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we were talking about one of our competitors. He hasn't listed a property for 2 months.
2 months, yeah.
Yeah. That's right. It's not that he can't. It's just his frequency's been elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So I want you to remember the top part of what we're talking about before, the good, let's call it good and not good. The good, all good things happen in there because you're aligned with good. So opportunities, and one of the things I was going to say in here is you're not going out to get stuff. It's coming to find you. So that's what's happening. Like, you're putting your frequency out there, just like a fishing line almost. You're throwing it out there because it's constantly radiating off you. Like, if you can feel heat coming off you, it's like the same thing. Like, we have our desires coming off of us and our excitement and our thing. You know, when you're excited, you just feel like, so good. Like, you feel like you just want to get out there and just like see what you, you know, like you're just keen. But when you're not, you just want to hide away from the world and just like not be a part of anything. But it's like that. It's like you're throwing out all of this energy constantly, and all it's doing is like Velcro, connecting with streams of energy that match it. There's all these streams going on around us everywhere, with all different opportunities, circumstances, people, phone calls. Because think about if you want $1 million, you don't just get $1 million doesn't fall out of the sky in a bag. $1 million comes from a whole lot of opportunities that you've been prompted to and go to, and then one day you become wealthy because you've stayed on that path that's leading you to the $1 million.
Well, you said I want to sell the most expensive home on the Central Coast. Remember you said that?
Okay, that's a great example.
That's a perfect one.
I know exactly where I was driving, up on Scenic Highway. I was driving past this house that my competitor sold. And I was like, I want to sell the most expensive. I think it was the most expensive one. Mark Coglin's house, beautiful house. And then I had it listed with my competitor. He sold it, and I was like I ran out. My agreement ran out. I was hopeless in the upper end before. I was like, just used to list things too high. I used to hate the upper end because I was just frequency out of line with it. Frequently, what do you call it? And then I drove past one day, and I was a bit like, And this is where the benefit of the negative can come, because it can actually spring you into where you want to go. And I was like, I want to sell the most expensive house on the Central Coast. That's what I want to do. And I wrote it down. Sell the most expensive house on the Central Coast. And I gave that all my thought. And in the next few years, I did. Sold the most expensive house. But then I did it like 5 times after that with houses. See how the stream just sticks if you stay on that path? And it's like, better. Just keep going. Stay on that, you know?
And that's it. And that's the thing with frequency that I find I've learned. I don't actually think about frequency. I just know how I feel when I'm at my best, and I've just learned to stick there. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, operate there.
When I had no money and the car and all this sort of stuff, I had to shift my frequency, and it was like step by step to get it to where it is today. But now I have the ingredients. Like, I know exactly what I need to do every day to wake up and be in the upper end of that zone. Yeah. And it just becomes like a part of you.
So let's talk about that. Yeah. Exactly what you said. So how do you start the day? You got to set the tone. You have to set the tone. If you wake up from the moment sleep is the most important thing. Sleep is a reset. It's like wipe the slate clean. It doesn't matter what happened. Yesterday, let's talk about yesterday quickly for us. I was that overwhelmed yesterday. I just could not. I reckon there was about 10 calls I didn't even answer yesterday afternoon. I just could not answer them all. Yeah. I was swamped. Like if someone was spraying a fire hose at us. And I just couldn't get away from it. I was like, and even when I went to the factory in the afternoon, I just went, trained as quickly as I could and got out of there and went home. And then just went hang out with the kids actually. And then it just stopped it all. So you like, when you're in a state of overwhelmed, you've got to let the things slow down a bit. Yeah. Don't try and just anxiously you're not, the reason I left the calls at the end, I'll get them this morning, but I was not in the right frequency. They wouldn't have gone right. So like, and then went to sleep early, woke up today feeling absolutely clicked back in. But where I went wrong yesterday is I reckon at about 8:30, I started to get a little bit frustrated around a sale that was happening a little bit. I felt my frequency change a bit. And solicitors were being painful and I was getting a bit drawn into it, trying to, you got to get in there and do stuff, but you got to be detached from it a bit. How it's going to end up is how it's going to end up. And I was getting a bit like, and then went to another appointment, then I was running a bit behind, and then it just sort of like kept going like that. Whereas today I feel totally in front of the energy. So when you wake up, you have to keep your thought process on track. You can't give yesterday continuous thought. And there's a gap. If you think of something it's 16 seconds, but let's say 20, let's call it 30 seconds. If you give thought to something that happened yesterday for 30 seconds, you will engage that energy again.
Yeah.
So if someone did something to you not great, or you lost a listing, or a sale didn't happen for you, phone a business or something, your husband yelled at you, whatever, you will go straight back to that energy and you will click back into that frequency, and there you have it. The day will be similar to yesterday. So people see who people who when they live in drama and negative and life's not great and life's not fair, their life stays like that because they don't actually give themselves the opportunity to find the next thing. They keep saying the same thing. And I know people like this. Jackson's mum is one person who loves whinging. She loves whinging about money. She whinges about money all the time. Got no money. All the time, doesn't she? And it's like she lives in that state. And I feel like saying to her, just tell yourself a different story. It's like start enjoying life and enjoying what you have. It will change. But she's like always forever in this constant cycle. And you can watch people's language around where they're at. If you talk about you, Jordan, you're always talking about investments, wealth, success, things. But when you sold one property in that 3 months, whatever it was, and you're overwhelmed, what were you talking about? You were talking about...
I was complaining. I thought I was
can't fit anything else in, not enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't even know what you wanted to do. Like, you didn't even know if you want to be here anymore. Like, not on the planet.
I was literally sitting at listing presentations like, I don't even want this listing.
Yeah.
I physically can't do one more listing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and you got that.
I was saying that in my head. I just thought of something really quickly, which is interesting with frequency. And I love the book, Eat That Frog. Do the heavy tasks straight away, or the calls that makes you really anxious because it's out of the way. And so right, like sometimes things are automatically going to change your frequency, but you need to move them back into another state. That's why it's so good to get them out of the way straight away.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like if I've got anxious about a call with an owner this morning, like I need to get that done and then change my energy.
What's that word you said then?
Anxious.
Anxious. There you go. You can, that anxiety is going to build.
Because if I leave it to the end of the day, my whole day is anxious until that point.
And it will align.
Yeah.
What aligns with anxiety? Anxious. Like, just look at the scale. Don't listen to me. Look at the scale. Anxious is like, you're not going to get the results you want. Remind me to talk about personal relationships, but also the morning. So the morning, set the tone. Whether that's go for a walk or just have this morning routines are the best. You have a morning routine that is non-negotiable 95% of the time. Sometimes you're going to be tired and you need a bit of a sleep. You'd worry about that yourself, or you'd work through that yourself. But if I go to the gym, do my thing, come back, have breakfast with Tara, get ready, I have the same thing every day. Because I own that. It's literally like a fortress around my morning. And if it's off, if I set a morning appointment, I know sometimes people go, I want an 8:30 appointment. And if I step outside of that, the day's never the same.
Yeah.
It's just never the same because it's like I haven't got my energy stream running.
Yep.
You got to see your days. That's how important days are. You see your day as a snapshot into your future, but of course you sleep. It's like restarting again. So you have an opportunity today to control your energy. It's not an easy thing to do. Sometimes you get to 9:30 in the morning and your day's just in the ditch because like people are ringing you and like all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. But that's okay. Roll through it the best you can, and it's teaching you how to control your energy because let's face it, the days aren't just like, oh yeah, sweet, this is so good, like just cruising along. But if you can get the majority of it, great, you're going to have a pretty great year. Like it's going to keep moving forward and keep building. So personal relationships are the best thing for energy and frequency. You know when your wife says something and it's like, whatever, can you take the bin out? and you just don't want to take the bin out. And then it turns into a bit of you can feel the energy change like that.
Yeah.
And you're like, or they might just say something that you're just like, oh, like, why do you have to ask me that? I'm training myself as hard as I can not to be the person to carry it on. Like, because I'm a little bit like cut off stubborn, and Tara is exactly the same. And we can like literally we can be fantastic.
Yeah, I'll fall on my sword before I say sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Tara is the most stubborn person you have ever met in your life for saying sorry. It was like the world will have to fall in on itself sometimes. She says sorry, but it's like it takes a long time to get there. It's like I know she's just waiting for me to say it.
But I reckon personal relationships is probably the number one thing that shifts energy.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But it's the best training ground. Because like, how good is it? You can have you ever had a thing over nothing? Like it could be anything. It could be just like you didn't put the Vegemite on right for her toast when you make it or something. And then all of a sudden she's just like sitting there quiet.
Yeah.
Eating that. And you're like, what's wrong? It's like, and it either says nothing or why you ask me that? And I'm like, oh, here we go. And you can just feel it. It's like crash. And then for the next 36 hours, you're just not talking, or you're just half ignoring each other, or you go off and train to get out of the house, and then she's angry because you've gone off, and then anyway, it's just like turns into nothing you can do is good. But the second you go and give her a cuddle and say, "Oh look, I'm sorry, whatever it was, I don't even know what it was, but what it was, sorry, can we just start again? Is that all right? And, I love you very much," and it's fixed in 2 seconds, and the energy all of a sudden. Might take a little bit to get going again, but see how you, like
100%. You just got to handle it ASAP.
And you can, you do. But see how you can control it. So it's how you want to live your life, not whether you're right or wrong. It's how you want to live your life. Do you want to live your life in a state of tense frustration or being right all the time, or do you want to live a life of I just want smooth? That's what I want. Smooth. I want good people. So if I want good people to be attracted to me to do business, I've got to be in that state. Or do I want a person who's an absolute prick that is like literally driving me into the ground, ringing me every 5 minutes, second guessing everything, micromanaging everything, like doesn't want to pay fee, doesn't want to do this, and I absorb 85% of my time in just managing this nightmare? Or do I want to attract 30 people that are just like, Matt, we know your experience. You just do what you feel is right and let's do it together. I love those ones. They always go really good, by the way.
Yeah, fantastic.
So good. But
because their frequencies matched.
Yeah.
You're both like humming along together.
Yeah. But who do I need to be for them to come? Confident, calm, excited, expectant, do the right thing. If I want them to do the right thing by me, do I have to do the right thing by people?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's right. I need to be that. So remember, you're pulling these people into your world. You're not going out and finding them. You're pulling them into your frequency and then matching your frequency.
While you're getting that up, I'll just touch on something really quickly, which I've become very good at, is it's the way, when something happens, it's the way you look at it, which can change your frequency too. Like, were you just about to say
I was just about to say, you have to learn to accept others. It's their world, not yours. Yeah, so keep going.
Well, look at the sale, the highest sale on the Central Coast. You either go, oh, I can't believe you sold that, this, that's like really ruined me, this, and do 3 months of poor me, I didn't sell the highest price on the Central Coast. Or do you go, unreal, I'm going to use that as energy and I'm going to get a better sale.
Yeah.
So it's like you can go so both ways.
Yeah.
Just the way you think about stuff.
When the competition sells something that you really want to sell, it hurts. Like it does, but I don't sit on it. I'm like,
I remember you lost one a year ago. And it was like, I haven't seen you lose listing in a long, long time. Unless you're sort of like, I don't particularly want it, so I'll put my fee up, and if I get it, then we'll do it. But you come in and you went, that's it, I'm never losing another listing again. All new tools. We spent hours doing new tools, all new tools, this, practicing, dialogue, that. After 25 years in real estate, I was very impressed. But a lot of people would be like, oh, that's like really chipped me, that. Like, oh, I can't believe I lost. Am I really not as good as I thought I was? Blah, blah, blah.
Or their marketing was cheaper or this was that.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah.
Oh, they did a cheaper fee. It's funny when anybody, I know it's not real estate, but really quickly, when anybody says to you they did cheaper marketing or cheaper fee, you just lose your mind.
I do. You know who was really good? Gillian McGrath used to charge 3.3% in Sydney, and everyone else was like 1 or 1.5 or whatever. 3.3. She just used to be, this is me.
Yeah.
You want to use me? This is how much I cost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to start seeing people as it's their world. So, and the other thing is, you know, when you get someone in your world, and you go, I just can't stand them. Like I just like literally don't want them anywhere in my world, but they keep coming into your world. You're attracting them. There's something in your vibration that's attracting them to you. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to find you. You got to see it like that. Like people are walking around like, have you ever gone somewhere and someone said, oh, actually, Joe was just here. You missed him. Like literally, if you were meant to meet them, like if your vibration was the same, you would have bumped into him. You go, oh, Joe, like I've actually been waiting to call you. And here you are. Wow. You've missed them. So if someone keeps coming into your world that you absolutely can't stand, it's because you're attracting them. So when this person's ringing you and going, and you just like can't cope with them anymore, but you're probably thinking how much you can't stand them and all about them. And of course you're thinking about or even vibrating at a frequency that they match in some way, in somewhere. Once I understood that, I look at people way differently now. You know, like I don't look at they're infiltrating my world. I'm like, I'm bringing them into my world.
You 100% do that.
Yeah.
One of my really good friends, he's a great guy, but he just got out of jail. And he's like, I'm never going back, this, that. Was doing well for so long. And I just seen him the other day, he's in so much trouble, he's going back to jail again. I said, what happened? He said, I don't know where these people come from, but they just ended up in my life. He just met this whole group of bad people again, and he's just done all terrible things, and now he's back in jail.
You know why?
And I'm like...
You know why? Because he's actually used to that vibration.
Like, but so good, surfing, fishing, this, him and I. And it was just like, bang, in 2 weeks. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah. It was a great point. You know the other thing? It's very hard to hold vibration. It's very hard to hold in a frequency of success.
Yeah.
It's very hard. It's a daily mental commitment to make sure you're moving or steady. Like he's just gone, you know.
Like it's easy just to go fall back to there.
Yeah, let's have a line of coke. Let's do it. It all starts somewhere. But you're not born a criminal.
Yeah.
Like you're born someone who's like, well, you're born, but then you're birds of a feather. Jackson, what have I said to you your whole life? You become like who you hang around.
Show me your friends, show me your future. Is
totally
the best line in the whole world. I literally swear by that. I would tattoo it across my forehead. That's how much I believe in it. And I also believe that you're the net worth of your 5 closest friends.
Yeah. Oh, gee. How much are you worth?
No, I'm the lowest net worth in our group of 5. However, I'm coming to the table in the next 5 or 10 years.
I better go get my food stamps. Okay, let's go quickly through these points and then we're done. You have to feed your mind with things that are going to uplift you and increase you, or constantly. Then that goes with the self-talk as well. Like, who are you becoming? What do you want? Like, that's where my mind constantly sits. Not in what's happened yesterday. It's like, how good can you be? How good can you want it? You know, I heard a great thing many years ago. Joe Vitale, he said, how good can you stand it? How good can you stand it? You know, people actually maybe can't stand success or the feeling of, like a guy that I dealt with a little while ago, a good client of mine. He said, Matt, things are going so good. They can't last. And I'm like, what? I was like, mate, they get better. He's like, nah, something's got to go wrong.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's true.
You wait.
But people actually expect things to not go good.
Yeah.
So what are they going to get? I expect things to be amazing. I expect me to list everything. I expect me to like be real wealthy. I expect everything to just like power along. Doesn't mean there's no challenges, but I see the challenges as springboards. You know, like when things pop up, it's like, okay, we're going to use this to get better. Like that's where I'm headed. Like literally, I'm like in my mind, I'm like a fierce machine. It's like creating success. I'm like wired for success. That's where I see myself now. I've been on the other side. Like, I'm not saying I'm just like that, but that's what I want.
Yeah, you learn to be the way that you are now.
Yeah, if I'm going to invest like 20 hours into today, like I want to invest them in create excellence. Like watch what I, what you watch and what you do and what you think about. Here we go. You have to be nice. You have to be nice. Remember, I never used to be nice.
Yeah.
To work with. Was it good working with me?
It's good to learn off you, but it was hard to work for you.
Yeah, no one used to stay.
Yeah,
not much. Like people used to sort of like they came because of what I achieved, not who I was. And people didn't really like it. So you want a nice life.
And I tell you what's really interesting too. You were like so in control, like do this, do that, you go there, over here, this, that. Like it was so like bang, bang, bang because you thought that was the way to get to success. But when you become a lot nicer, we doubled our business.
So
in
good.
2 years.
So good. Like even with you, the only thing I bang on about with you is prospecting. For some reason, you got like this void in your head of prospecting because I'm trying to teach you how to build your career for life. That's the only thing I bang on about. The rest, I wouldn't have a clue what you're doing. Unless the cadet isn't on time or whatever, then I do actually get angry at you every now and then. Like the other day, there was a deck that wasn't swept or something, and I was like, ugh. But we all get like that. That's an expectation thing. However, like I want people to work and go, I love working together. Like it's fantastic. You have to be a nice person.
Yeah, I agree.
You just do. Let's quickly go. We've already talked about some of these, so just wait 1 second. Okay, you've got an optimum energy zone. Sorry about the slight break there, but I'm just making sure we've got this covered because I want people to like use this as an instruction manual moving forward. They might listen to it many times over time, but you've got an optimum energy zone. Mine's the morning, right now. Boom, optimum energy zone. When's yours?
I don't know. I think I could just carry it the whole way through the day. Like I actually like getting in the office. Mine's probably from the minute I sit at my desk. Yeah,
well, I think you're a morning person.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Like in the night, either you ignore my calls or don't answer and pretend you're asleep. I don't know. It's like I'll ring at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock at night. He's like, didn't answer my call. He's like, next day, oh, sorry, I was asleep. He's probably like rolling his eyes looking, oh, not him again.
That's not true. Yeah, but, I'm probably in the morning too.
Yeah, but mine is up till lunch. After lunch, I start to fade. So I want all my good appointments in the morning. Like if I can, 99% of them in the morning, training in the morning, if I can. I go train in the night. It's different. The frequency's not the same.
Yeah.
So you've got this optimum energy zone, and I like try and do all my magnetic things then. Myself, people, clients, this and that. In the morning, I know I'll nail them. In the afternoon, sort of. Doesn't mean I don't work in the afternoon, but you might do like buyer appointments, things like that, where it's like not as intensely focused. I don't know what you think on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought you meant like how do you get into your optimal energy?
No, like when your energy
the morning for sure.
The morning, yeah. When you're like finding a vibration, it's like a mirror. It's like you've got to see it as like if you want to be. So how do you become wealthy if you're not wealthy? You're listening. Let's talk results. So how do you increase your results vibrationally first? Because it's a vibrational world. You've got to get there vibrationally first. How do you do that? So if your results are nowhere right now, or you're new or whatever, what would you say would be the best thing to start getting the feeling of vibrational results first and get excited about what you can achieve? Because sometimes there's this mental gap. Like you can't just quickly be confident and quickly be like, it might be a new business. You might even just start a new little business and you're like, I hope clients come and I hope all this and what do I need to do? So video, podcast?
I do. I think all of them things, but I just think it's step by step. Like if I was a brand new agent, I would just focus on doing one listing, one sale a day, a month.
What if you got none?
All you need to do all month is just get one listing and one sale.
Yes.
That's it.
So just focus on that.
Yeah, and then once you start operating there, you'll be like, I can do one-on-one. Yeah, look at me go. And then you start working out how you're getting your one-on-one. Actually, like most of the time it keeps happening off my door knocking. And then go 2 and 2. 3
okay,
and 3,
I'm going to go back before that. So that's a little progressed. But you said yesterday, we went to an appointment yesterday and I said, Jordan, you're very impressive. I rang you after it. I said, because, you like feedback. You're that sort of person. And I was very impressed with how you spoke with the lady. Like I was like, whoa, he's really growing up, this little boy. Like, but I was really impressed with how you handled yourself. It was a nice house. It was your listing. And I was like, I rang you after, said, mate, I was really impressed with how you said, how you were, whatever. And you said to me, I practice my listing presentation every day. Every day. You know, I practice it all the time, non-stop. And I could see that we haven't been together for a little bit now, but it's like when last one was okay. This one, I was like, whoa, you could go to a $10 million house, I reckon, and list it easily. But see how you've created the vibration of success with dealing with people, and you can see it. So what I was more meaning around it is, if you got nothing, start pretending like you do and do a listing presentation to nobody, or prospect like you forming a relationship with thousands of people in your area, and you're like almost like dressed for success, that sort of thing. Like pretend that you are. Start getting your vibration like you are already successful, not in an arrogant way, but in a way that you're expecting it to come. Like earn it. Like I used to think to myself, the more I prospected, the more I'm going to earn the right to list somebody's house next. Do you get what I mean? Like vibrationally create the position of like why are you practicing your listing presentation so much?
Because I want to list everything.
Yeah. Because you're preparing yourself vibrationally. So when you meet the next opportunity, you're already vibrationally moved.
Yeah.
Your frequency has changed to expect to get that listing.
Yeah.
That's why you're role playing so much. I did the same thing. I role played for years and years and years and years and years. So because when I get to the next one, it was like I was, training. What do they say? Sweat in training so you don't bleed in battle. Yeah. Yeah. You were doing the sweating. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly right. There's about 5 more little points here when we're finished. Don't look for the outcome. You can push it away. So energetically.
They say that with money too.
Money, everything.
You chase money, it'll run.
Yeah. When I do the absolute best, I'm not tracking anything. Like I literally am just out doing my thing with an excitement around listing and this and that and whatever else. But where's impatience on that scale?
Down the bottom somewhere.
Yeah, right towards the bottom. So sometimes when you're anxiously, or it can be an anxious thing as well, like you're anxiously waiting for that result, vibration, you start to push it away.
Same with sales. If people can feel like it's desperate for the deal, they will move away from it.
Have you been to a nightclub before?
Just once or twice.
Have you ever gone out and wanted to look for a girl?
I have said this story 100 times.
How did I know this would be right in your lane?
I've got to be careful here.
Yeah.
But, like, friends of mine have said that they've gone out, and I speak of it as from friends of mine, and made eye contact with a girl from across the bar. Like, oh yeah, like I like the look of her. And 5 hours later, at the end of the night,
you've got
sitting at the table with you.
Sitting at the table with you?
Or sitting at the table with my friend.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. How do you look at one person in a club full of 500 people and for some reason attract them to your table 5 hours later?
Same thing.
This is the thing.
But if you went out, group of guys, hunting down a girl to be with.
Because girls do that. Guys do that. Like, oh yeah, like going out to get a girl tonight.
You actually push them all away.
All the way.
They're not interested. They don't even come near you.
Yep.
It's like, but if you're out with a couple of friends paying no attention to the girls at all around, they almost like come up and go, oh, hey, how you doing?
Yeah. Do you know what's funny? I love watching things on TikTok. I'm going to be super quick with this. I love watching things on TikTok with girls and what they say. Like, girls always say, there's TikTok at the moment. It's like when the guy doesn't even look at me, doesn't give me attention, turns his back and walk away. And it's like the sound goes, well, you're coming home with me.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm like, it's so true.
It is.
Like, that's how girls actually look at it. Like, if you almost give them no attention, sort of be interesting, but not like, like all over them. They find that more attractive.
Let's go deeper.
Yeah.
Where's your frequency though? So if you're an anxious mess, not paying anyone attention, would you attract them?
No.
So your energy needs to be attractive.
Confident. Yeah. Confident, assertive, positive. But you can feel auras coming off people.
Yeah. Like, you can. I said this yesterday. The better you are, the more you are in the zone, the more attractive you are. It's almost like bees to honey. It's like, is it bees to honey? Bees to pollen? Something? Bees don't go to honey. Bees make honey. Yeah. But it's like if you are that confident, relaxed, easy, expectant, happy energy, flocking around everywhere. But if you're like complaining, worried, anxious, you can see it. You can feel it in people. So is that a nightclub tip for Jordan Boomer? Or so don't look for the outcome, but you've got to focus on something. So I focus on the process. I focus on how many calls do I need to make today? How many people do I need to meet today? How good a service can I provide people today? How good can I answer the phone today? How much do I know my product? How much blah, blah, blah. That's what I focus on.
Yeah.
And in the like vibrational target, I've got 20/20 in my mind, but I don't focus on that obsessively. It's like, that's what I want to do, but now I'm going to get really good at the steps. Just the steps, not the outcome, the steps. And who do I need to become? And my fitness levels, what I eat, what I say to myself, all of that sort of stuff. See how it all links together? You're staring.
I was thinking about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like literally, I've gone to a place where I was like thinking about that.
You're like staring straight
with
through
my
me.
life. I was like, so true.
Yeah, okay.
Thinking about my life experience. Yeah.
3 more things. So when things move right, move your focus as quickly as possible. Okay, so when things don't go right, sometimes they don't go right. You could be feeling great and all of a sudden something doesn't go right. You've got to move instantly, as quickly as I can. Doesn't mean it happens in 2 seconds. Sometimes it might take 30 minutes. Like, I get it. You dwell on it a little bit, but then I instantly move myself over to something good that's happened. So it could be a result that I'd sold 3 months ago, but I was happy about the sale. So like, it could be the one we sold for 8.1 and I'm like, that's such a good sale. And I move all of my energy there straight away, because you could have 10 things. So you could have 9 things going right and 1 thing that's not. If you focus on the 1 thing that's not, all the 9 things that are going right will actually change.
I reckon that is the solution, doing exactly what you said. I call my nan every single time something goes bad. Every time.
There you go.
I say, hey, Cookie, how you going today? Oh, fantastic, John. And I just say, she says, I love you. I say, love you too. Hang the phone up. And I'm like, perspective, bang, I'm back on board.
Exactly.
In 2 seconds.
Yeah. And I often think to myself, what's important today isn't important in 12 months' time.
And what it normally isn't really that important anyway.
No, not at all.
Like, when you actually put it in the scheme of what's happening, like when I call my nan, I'm like, how have you done? Oh, I haven't really done anything. I've just been sitting watching. I think, yeah, well, this is nothing.
Yeah.
Love you, bye. Bang, back into it.
Yeah. There's a really successful guy that I deal with, and he's when things don't go right or things don't go his way, he gets annoyed. Doesn't get annoyed, but he goes, not meant for me. That's all he says. Not meant for me. Not meant for me. Not meant for me. That's all he says. So it's his way of just put it on, not meant for me. Let's go. So you got to be in a constant place of inspired. Jackson's got to go in a sec, so we'll be very quick. Yeah, you will. You've got to be in a constant place of inspired and hungry. Okay, so you've got to be in a constant place of inspired and hungry. If you can live in that space, you will live in the zone. You got to see time as your friend and be patiently impatient. You're okay with how long it takes, and you just got to be. You can be impatient, but be patiently impatient. You're keen and eager for it to come, but it'll come when it comes. If you start to understand that, you will have a very smooth energy about things. It's not a desperate energy about things. You've got to get into a good mood as much as you can. If you feel yourself get out of a good mood, do whatever it takes. Get in a not so good mood, do whatever it takes to get in a good mood. And that could be go have a sleep in the car. Just relax, listen to something good. Just stop working. If work's not going good, just stop working. Go home. Do something else. And you have to get ahead of the energy at all times. If you don't, you will become overwhelmed. So you have to get in ahead of the energy. So that means being happily running and not swamped by this isn't happening or that's not happening, and letting your mind run away with things. So when you're ahead of the energy, you feel lighter, you feel flexible, you feel in the zone, you feel good. But when you feel overwhelmed, the energy is ahead of you. If you can learn to do all of these little things, listen to this over and over again, there's a whole lot of little hints in this, but you can start to control your energy. You've got to listen to your emotions. So you set your intention, you set your target, you've got to decide on what you want to be in each subject, just one thing in each subject of your life, and you've got to see a frequency, like a station in each subject of your life, and then understand that your emotions are a steering wheel to get there, and your frequency will attract each thing into your life, you'll start to look at life very differently, and your results will change, your outcome will change, and you'll enjoy life a whole lot more.